So it's the morning after the night before where the Lions lost to Argentina 24-28, and I've been going over things in my head, rewatching the game, and I think there's some big things to take away from this game, really quite interesting actually. And first of all, yes, it's a loss, but it's actually going to be very useful because it highlighted a number of things, and Argentina were the perfect opposition. Yes, it is a money grab game, we all knew it, but if you're going to have a money grab game, rather than just have a romp over some sort of put together team, play one of the world's best teams, top 5 teams, and Argentina played really well and they showed up where the Lions need to improve. And the Lions did put some decent stuff together as well. But what I like about this sort of game, this sort of loss, is now they're travelling out to Australia with a serious focus. They're not thinking, we're great, we're going to romp it. There's going to be some real eye of the tiger or eye of the lion in this team now. So that's actually my main positive out of the game, is creating that focus. So let's have a look at what they could have learnt from the game. Now, I think the main takeaway, and actually quite a big point, is there is a bit of a coaching disconnect here. Now, believe it or not, because they're all kind of Irish coaches, or a lot of these guys are Irish coaches, and they were picked to prevent a disconnect. Andrew Goodman, maybe in attack, what he wanted didn't seem to align with what Andy Farrell was saying, what Maro Itoje was saying. I mean, in their interviews, I was really happy actually that Itoje was pretty hacked off, talking about the tippy-tappy rugby that I'd been talking about in the live stream. Just couldn't believe how they were just flipping everything and not going direct at times. So good man Maro saying what needs to be said, and Andy Farrell was saying it was unacceptable as well. They were forcing things, overplaying, but that's what they were told to do. I mean, these players didn't wake up and decide just to chuck the ball around all over the place. I mean, you've got guys like Aki, Tuipulotu, Freeman, Van der Merwe, power players. Sure, they can handle, but if they're told to go direct, they would have gone direct and not forced things. So they were clearly doing what they were told, because these are A, top professionals, and B, they're playing for a Lions test spot, and they're going to do that by doing what they're instructed to do, not just making it up on the day. So clearly there is a disconnect in the coaching team there on how they want to attack. So I do expect them to be a lot more direct in other games, because that was a bit of a problem there. They definitely tried to run before they could walk, sort of thing. So yeah, they're going to have a get together as a coaching team and kind of take that one on the chin and say, we got that one a bit wrong. And just very quickly, during the tour, yes, we do have the 45% off still on the manual testosterone testing kits, which makes it just about £30 to be tested, which is why so many people are doing it. Obviously, they want you to maybe have treatment afterwards, but if you just want to test, or you know someone that does, use that code RugbyAnalyst45, because it really is a good deal. Now, point 2 is a bit linked to point 1, of course, but I think the Lions could absolutely have overpowered Argentina, which is something maybe that got overshadowed by some of the mistakes. We saw the scrum was starting to really get on top, and those props were the players who had the best games. Genge, Beelum, and even when Furlong and Schoeman came on, I thought they looked very good as well. So those were the big positives, and the scrum was good. The maul at times looked very powerful. They were hitting the drive at exactly the right time with great body positions, got a penalty try, and of course Cowan-Dickie nearly went over as well. So there were signs that the scrum and the maul were big weapons as well. And we saw some big carries. I mean, Genge hit some massive lines. Curry, Earl, other players also had some big carries, but not enough. And if they go to that power game to start with against the Western Force, I think they should focus on overpowering them, because I think they absolutely can. Now, point number 3 is a lot of the players will be very frustrated with themselves, actually. The props, I think, had a good game, like I said, but everyone else had some good things and also some poor things and some shockers as well. I don't think anyone played themselves out of contention, maybe apart from one who I'll focus on in a minute. But it was real mixed bag there for a lot of these players. Freeman, for example, got heavily involved, lots of touches, but then flipped the ball away sometimes, didn't win many of his high balls, dropped a clanger right at the end. Van der Merwe had some good runs, but also flipped the ball away, lost one badly on the floor, some defensive errors. Henry Pollock came on and he made a good turnover, a good strip in the tackle, I should say, made a good break, but then also missed a tackle, lost the ball right at the end. So mixed bag. A lot of these players are going to be looking at that game going, I didn't quite make the statement I wanted to. Now, point number 4 is the one that's been focused on with most of the articles come out, most of the interviews, etc., and that is the overplaying and the mistakes that led to the tries by Argentina. It has to be said, the Pumas pounce on those mistakes expertly. Amazing skill from the Argentinians, which is what the Australians will do if they get those sorts of mistakes. So it is a good lesson to have. Now, I mean, let's just go through the tries for Argentina. The Mendy try, it was just underfolding in defence from the Lions, so they did have a short of numbers on that side, but then Tommy Freeman puts himself in no man's land. He didn't drift, he didn't commit high up to stop the pass, which was a problem. And then we see a bit of a weird thing from Marcus Smith. Yes, he was in a tricky 2v1 defensive situation, but he kind of just shoulder lunges in on Carreras, and Carreras gets the pass away. So I'm not sure what he was trying to do there. Let me know, because he does it again later on in the game. It's weird kind of shoulder dip thing when it's a hopeless 2v1 situation rather than just going for one thing or the other. So not sure there. And then Albanos try, Van der Merwe just straight drops the ball going to ground, which is the mistake, but perfectly pounced on again by Argentina. And that weird 2v1 shoulder dip thing from Marcus Smith. The Cordero try, brilliant from Albanos for the break, but you have to say Tom Curry got sold on the charge, and then Pollock goes very high and wishy-washy with kind of a grabby type tackle and gets handed off pretty badly. Good execution after that with some good pace from Cordero. Smith not quite having the pace to get there, but again, it was a try from nothing and from mistake. So they'll be looking at these in review. It'll be pretty cringy in that team room, but they're going to have to learn from it, because you can't give Australia those sorts of mistakes either. And then point number 5, which I think we've learnt from this game, which maybe we knew before, is Marcus Smith is very talented. I mean, I've got a picture there. I like the guy a lot. He's great to watch, but he's not a 15. It's been tried enough now. It was a difficult situation because they didn't have any of their 15s available. Keenan's just coming back from injury. Kinghorn's not there. Could have gone for Daly, which is the guy I'd put in there in my kind of team before, but it didn't go well for him. Some of his stuff that he did well, the passing, a bit of footwork, is what we know he can do, but that 15 fullback specialist work isn't really there. Coming for a high ball a couple of times, did not look like ever getting it in a crowd when there's competition. Some more strange decisions when he gets the ball out wide. He kicked the ball away once when they were just building good phases in the 22, which was weird. And if you look at the overlap he should have given it to Van der Merwe. There was some cover coming across, but you would back Van der Merwe to maybe score that one. Yes, they scored with Burn a few phases later, but he wasn't to know that, so that was a bad decision. Now, I think his positioning at fullback defensively has got a lot better, but he got caught in the 22 badly once when he was trying to do some audacious dummy switch thing rather than using pace to get away from the cover there, and Isgro snagged him. So was Tom Jordan a better option? I think that is a question. Like I say, I do like Marcus Smith. It'll be good to see him at 10 at some point, although he's gone as the third choice 10, so it's already looking fairly unlikely he's going to start in a Test 23, or feature in a Test 23, I should say. So tough game for him. I wonder what they're going to do against the Western Force with Keenan just back from injury and Kinghorn maybe just arrived. I guess one or two of them will play indeed. Anyway, guys, get stuck into those comments down below. Do subscribe if you haven't already, because there's going to be so many of these Lions videos coming out. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.